Hey guys, welcome to Real Shit Fridays. We're back. Hey Carlos, how are you?
I am doing fan-fucking-tastic. How about you,
Awesome.
Coco?
I am good. It is 11 p.m. As you guys know, we record this, we pre-record this. So it is Tuesday at 11 p.m. But for you guys, it's Friday. So let's just pretend it's Friday for us.
Oh,
I'm
happy
tired,
Friday,
but
happy weekend.
happy weekend, right? Happy weekend. You guys got through your fucked up weeks. You cursed out everybody you needed to curse out, and now you can just sit back and relax with a martini until Monday, right?
Yep.
But I think today we're gonna talk about something that I guess is really detrimental to my everyday life. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Detrimental. I mean, I think that's a little harsh. I'll say that I guess it interrupts my everyday life. And I guess I'm sure you can kind of um, sympathize with me, Carlos. But basically, I want to talk about a big issue, which is anxiety. And I know
Anxiety.
that word means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but I guess I'll explain to what it means for me today, and then I guess hopefully, any of the listeners or anybody who this may also affect can kind of like send us some information on like kind of how you guys struggle with anxiety if you do, and we can definitely play on it another week. But for now, I just want to kind of explain what it is for me. For me, what I have is called situational anxiety. So what that is basically, you know how people just get anxious all the time and they have like nervous spouts or panic attacks constantly for random things, which is perfectly fine, and I totally understand that. But for me, it's particular situations. No matter what it is, it's always the same situations, and I literally have a huge panic attack. Now, when I say by situations, there's three in particular that kind of affect my life. It's one, starting a new job or being at a job, period. Being at work with different people is like a struggle for me, and I'll explain why later.
Uh-huh.
Two, going to the doctor. Um, and it's not like the regular, oh, I hate needles. It's not the regular people going to the doctor issues that I have. It's like deeper than that. And then three is, I guess it's going to sound strange to people, but not having something to look forward to. So, as people know, I'm an event planner, and part of the reason why I started doing this business is because I like to plan things for the future. So when I don't, when I don't have anything to plan, I lose my shit. So like that's kind of my issues. And then because I have those anxieties, I'm always thinking about it, so it kind of takes over my everyday kind of life. So that's basically kind of like what issues I have with it. But like, do you, Carlos, do you have any kind of like not symptoms, but like significant anxiety attacks from any type of situations or things that make you kind of anxious in general?
No, which is I'm like really interested in your anxiety because I don't get situational anxiety. And I like how you said that. That's kind of cool how you explain that. I just have just anxiety, life anxiety.
Yep. Which a lot of people have, and that's why I said I wanted to break it down because there's so many people have different anxiety. The word anxiety means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Anxiety could just be like, I feel nervous. I feel, I don't like standing up in front of a crowd and talking, or, I'm scared to go on this date, so I'm anxious. But
like
when it
one
comes, I'm sorry?
one big time when like even like okay, so the first of the month when bills are due, even though I know we have more than enough money to pay for everything, I always get super anxious. I get so much anxiety
Mm-hmm.
with paying bills, and I don't know what it is. Like it's just like this unspoken anxiety, and it's irrational because I'm like, why are you freaking yourself?
Exactly.
So irrational, and I don't
The
understand. I guess that's
irrational.
like a situation where I have anxiety for a short term, and then I get over it because the situation's over. So I guess I kind of do have situation anxiety. I just haven't looked at it that way.
Exactly. But no, you pinpointed the perfect word, and that's irrational. And that's how you know it's anxiety to the form of the definition of anxiety, which is basically irrational fears or what's the word I'm looking for? Paranoia. For
Paranoia.
things. It's like a feeling of an overwhelming feeling of paranoia about a situation that you cannot explain. It's
So
usually irrational.
what do you do? Like, do you meditate? Like, what do you do to deal with your situational anxiety? Like, I know a lot of people meditate, or I personally, I smoke a lot of weed to deal with anxiety. What do you do personally to deal with your anxiety?
It's kind of funny because, and Real Shit Fridays is about being real and being honest. And I have to say, I still have not conquered that. I still struggle really badly, especially like a particular situation is I have my own business because I've had 18 jobs and I'm only 27 years old. And
I'm
the
with
reason
you.
why, exactly, exactly. And I've never been fired. I've never been fired, but I've left. The longest time I've been at a job is 3 years, and that was because I actually, I fought it because I ended up making a lot of good connections and made a lot of friends, and a lot of the people that came in, it was a gym, and a lot of the people that came in, they became family, so it was very comfortable there. But that's a very rare occasion. So, for me, I when I start a new job, everything will be fine for a day or two. But then as soon as how they have like that training period where it's okay if you make mistakes and it's okay if you don't know what you're doing, nobody judges you, right? But then like after
Uh-huh.
3 weeks or so, you're supposed to know your shit. And so, if you start making mistakes, you're one of everybody else now. So, it's up to you to do your job correctly, which I never have a problem with doing. But where my anxiety comes in is after that period where it's okay for me, like the learning curve, I every little thing I do, I start panicking if I'm doing it wrong or if I'm looking stupid or if people are looking at me or if I look different from them, if they're talking about me behind my back. It's irrational because most of the time everything's fine. But it's
Everything's fine.
like this overwhelming sense of paranoia. It's kind of like, when you come down from a high and not even when you come down from a high, from when you're like in that weird state, because I mean I've never been I don't smoke, but I've taken pills that have made me very fucking up there. And like that weird period, like 10 minutes before you come down, when you're like, do people know? Do people know? Do I look weird? Am I doing like it's like that whole paranoid feeling for no fucking reason when everybody's minding their fucking business. But it's just overwhelming that I'm just like, fuck this. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm not going in. And that's the way it's been almost like my whole career, ever since I started working. I've literally gone through that. And how I combat it was basically I started my own business. I do my own shit. You know, I start businesses, I start podcasts, I start things that allow me to be in control. And I guess that kind of, in a long-winded way, explains how I kind of deal with it. I kind of make sure I'm in control so that I can't feel that paranoia. That's kind of how I guess I deal with it.
No, that's dope though. That's so you have at least you acknowledge your problem, and then you're still trying to figure out what's the best solution for you to like actually deal with it on it. But acknowledging it is always everyone's like biggest problem. Like that, it was
Exactly.
hardest. It was hard for me to acknowledge, and then accepting that you have a problem, especially like we talked about this last week in the podcast, like accepting that like as a black person, you might have a mental problem that, or the mental deficiency that it doesn't affect you as a person, business wise, but it does affect you as a person on your daily life. And as a business
Exactly.
person, you don't want to be like, oh, I have a problem. You never want to say that. You always want to be like, everything's on the up and up. And
You
sometimes
never want to
that's just,
seem weak. You never want to look weak.
yeah,
But in
exactly.
essence, you're not
We,
weak if you know your shortcomings, if you know things that are affecting you or things that you're struggling with, and you're able to say, hey, I have this problem. I feel like that's the strongest person around that can, kind of have that much of being self-aware to be able to be like, listen, this shit's this shit. I know this sounds crazy, but listen, I have to deal with this shit on a daily basis, but I'm still functioning. People who are able to say that and kind of bring that to light, I think are really strong. I mean, for me, because I'm so critical of myself, I feel like I am weak because the fact that I know that I deal with this, but coming from the outside looking in, I love seeing people that are able to kind of like admit that they have a struggle, that they struggle with something. But yeah, it's just it's so weird, like even like hearing myself say it out loud, because a lot of the times you kind of like feel like you have to be in denial. You're like, I'm fine, everything's fine. After this situation's over, I'll be fine, and then all of a sudden comes back up again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
crazy. But one thing I did want to tackle is just what you said about how, especially in the minority, I'm gonna say African American community, not even just the minority community, but in the African American community and family, it's really hard to say, hey, I think I have a mental issue. I always think that I always think back to when I was younger, and I would say, I think I need help. I think I need to talk to someone because these feelings of paranoia are taking over my life. And I remember people saying, "Oh, you're fine. Oh, you're just stressed," which is fine because people don't understand. But it's when it gets to, oh, only white people get depression, only white people get bipolar. There's nothing wrong with you, because I would say, hey, I might be bipolar. I have ups and downs all the time. And that was just me not being able to explain my situations of, when I get anxiety, I know that it's a really big down, and then I'm perfectly fine the next day. I didn't know how to explain that. So I would say
But
ups and downs. So people would think I'm talking about bipolar. And so people will be like, that's a white person thing. Black people don't get that shit. Like, no, like pick up your slacks and just fucking deal with it. And it's hard because the worst thing you can do to somebody who's struggling with someone is dismiss them. And I
yeah,
always say that you
yeah,
cannot dismiss somebody. That's how, and I hate to say it, that's how suicides happen, because people feel like they cannot reach out to somebody or reach out to people without seeming weak or feeling weak, and then there's nowhere else to turn. And so
I
like if
can I speak on something?
yeah,
Can I speak on something with that?
yeah.
So I speaking of suicide, guys, we had Jake Paul. He visited the suicide forest in China, and everyone's going after him and stuff. And
Mhm.
recently, I don't know if I shared this with you. I think I did. I don't know if it was you or my best friend. But recently, I had guests over for Thanksgiving, and the young boy who came over, I wasn't his friend directly, but I was his sister's friend, and he came to me. He let me know that like he'd been raped by his uncles his whole life, and like no one he's never let anyone know this. And the reason he was so comfortable is because he's heard me talk on Cut.com about abuse and foster care. And he's like, I want to commit suicide. Like I think I'm going to commit suicide this week. And he
Oh my
promised.
god.
He's like, can you keep that to yourself? Like, I think, like, I'm sharing this with you, but, and I, of course, I didn't keep that with myself. I told his family as soon as I heard it. Like, I went right to
Which
his
is
sister.
great.
I'm sorry, and like, but he hates me now. Like, and
Aw.
it's like I wanted to speak on that because, like you said, like that'll cause people to do suicide. But then, like, how do you talk to someone about their anxiety and their problems without making it like because we're not certified like psychiatrists and therapists. I don't know what to do with this information besides try to get someone who can help you. So do you go and help those people, or are you betraying them when you go and do that? That's something I've been like going in my brain ever since he said that to me.
Well, don't beat yourself up for it, because I feel like you probably did exactly what you should have done. Because when it comes to that point when someone's saying, "Hey, I'm gonna take my own life," then that's fucking serious. That it's beyond, it's beyond help at that point. Especially help that you can provide, because like you said, none of us are psychiatrists or anything. So, at once it's reached that point, there needs to be somebody there to intervene, and the best people to do that would be family. They need to have an intervention, say, we're here for you. Hopefully they're that type of family where they're
Mhm.
gonna, kind of say, all right, we understand it's that bad. What do you need us to do? Sadly, sometimes it's not, they don't have that type of family where they're like, what do you mean? You stupid? Are you crazy? Are you stupid? You're not gonna kill yourself. Blah blah blah. You're just looking for attention. And I've seen that happen so many times, and it's so heartbreaking. But I hope and pray for him that he has a type of family that takes this seriously, and because he doesn't, they don't want their loved one to be another statistic, and it's so easy to avoid, but so many people make a bunch of missteps in the process of trying to help somebody. So, but as far as like helping someone, because we're not certified, I just kind of approach people the way I kind of like being helped. Like when I have my panic attacks or my breakdowns, like I don't really have panic attacks where I'm just like pacing and crying and screaming. I cry and I get nervous and I get super, super down, like super depressed. That's how I know my anxiety has gotten really bad, because it's something I'm obsessing over, and I start to cry and I start to get depressed. When I'm in that moment, what I like is, I mean, I hate to tell people to do this, but it really does help, is to pacify that person as much as you can. Be like, it's okay. I know it sucks. If it's about a person, be like, fuck that person, fuck that bitch. She shouldn't have said this, blah, blah, blah. Really kind of just play on the fact that they're upset about something in particular, and let them know that it's okay, and it's okay for them to feel upset. Don't ever say, you know, deal with it. Never say deal with it. Never say stuff like it's your fault, or never say something like, um
Look
I
on the
mean,
bright side. That's
yeah,
my
look on
favorite.
the bright
Like, look on
side.
the bright side, or like just
No,
don't
it's
don't
just
pretty much don't demolish their. Who said that? My best friends, my husband's best friend said that. Like, you have to acknowledge everyone's feeling this year. Acknowledge their
yep,
feelings. Acknowledge. You
exactly.
don't have to agree with them, but you damn sure have to acknowledge them. You
Exactly.
know?
Making them feel validated. And then validation is a big word in my life. I like to let people know that their feelings are valid. Even if I don't understand a goddamn thing they're talking about, even if I completely disagree, their feelings are valid because it's theirs, and who am I to tell them they shouldn't feel that way? And I always say that, and that's how I feel like that's how I feel I deserve to be approached too. So when people tell me, "Oh, you're stupid for feeling this way," or stuff like that, it's like I instantly block them out, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm not coming to them no more." Because you should never do that to somebody. Just let them know that their feelings are valid, pacify them, let them know that it's okay, that it's going to be okay, that whatever it is they're going through is just in the moment, and they're better than this. Just do whatever you got to do. You got to build them up. And that's kind of what I would tell somebody, cuz that's what I need when I'm at my rock bottom.
And then yeah, and the reason I asked that question because it really tied into like what we were talking about because they're Muslim and they're people of color and like their pride is something that they really like they
Exactly.
really hold high. So like you can't like everything that he was talking about was just something that you like it just doesn't exist in that culture, you know?
Mhm.
So and I
Exactly.
just hate how that exists. I hate how that exists in our culture. I really do hate I hate that about people of color, how we give ourselves different standards than what we give white folks. It's when it comes to mental health.
Exactly. And I think it's because I think it's generational, because I think older people of our race have gone through so many things, and they feel like they've been oppressed, which they have, of course, but they feel as though, why are you doing this to yourself? You should be better than this, because we've gone through all this as a people. Why are you letting your mind control you and break you down?
Yeah,
And I feel like that's kind of the mentality, like subconsciously. They're like, why you can control this, when they don't realize you really can't. A lot of it is a imbalance, chemical imbalances. Sometimes it's hormones, sometimes it's even underlying diseases, that are causing these things. It could be hypothyroidism, things like that, that are
and then a
controlling
lot of
your.
you
Yeah.
know for me it's just post traumatic. It's just post traumatic. Like the
Mhm.
reason I understand the reason I have problems with bills is because growing up, my like our electricity was constantly being shut off. We were
Mhm.
constantly evicted. So whenever I'm put in those situations, my stress and my anxiety go out the roof, and it's just something because it's something that happened in my life in the past, and that's
Exactly.
trigger. And I'm like, oh, and every month I get triggered just by paying bills. Like,
Mhm. And I
it's,
totally get it. And then, like I said, there's so many underlying causes. There's post traumatic stress from situations. There's situational anxiety that comes up out of nowhere, because maybe your self esteem is low, or maybe you've had a bad experience with something. Maybe you've been embarrassed about something. Anything can trigger anxiety for the rest of your life. Anything can really kind of reset your mind to be like, fuck, this is going to bother me every time. And once your mind takes hold of that, there's very very little you can do unless you admit to yourself you have an issue. You have something that needs to be addressed, whether it's from yourself, from within, or you let somebody from the outside in, or take, I'd never suggest taking medication, but or if you can just kind of admit to yourself that you have something that needs to be taken care of, that's the first step. to kind of, even if you don't understand where it came from, that's the first step to kind of, I guess, delving into what could have caused it. And then from that point on, you can try to figure out how to control it or how to combat it, which is very hard to do. I never tell people, I would never say anything can be cured, because when it comes to anxiety, it's really kind of like it's a learned behavior that your mind just kind of like traps you in. But there's ways to control it, and ways to combat it to a point where you can function. And I really pray that people have at least one person by their side to be like, we're going to get through this together. It's really hard to do it alone. And I feel like I said, in our community, it's really hard to find even that one person who's with you, like who's for you in this, who's not going to think you're crazy. But when you're lucky enough to have that person, it really does kind of, help you start to combat it,
It really does.
It's crazy. But yeah, all this kind of came up because I I told you.
I got a text message, and you're like, "We're talking about anxiety.
Yes.
And we're talking about depression this week. I don't give a damn." I'm like, "Okay, let's do it. Let's do it."
I was like, I have to, because I told you my little dirty secret, which is, huh?
The doctor's appointment.
Yes, which is I've never gotten my blood drawn. I've never.
I asked her as soon as she said that. I was like, okay, as a 20-something-year-old woman, how have you managed to not get a full blood draw? Like, that is something that I have to get done like every fucking 3 weeks, it feels like.
Doctors have made it so convenient for me to avoid it. All I have to say is, is it okay if I come back next time? Or I have something to do. I might get a little dizzy, but I have to drive because I have an appointment, so I'd rather come back. And they're just like, okay. And it's been happening for 27 years.
Okay, can I just pause you here? I got kicked by my horse when I was 16.
Holy
and they couldn't find a vein, and they needed to draw my blood to test if I was doing any drugs. So they used an ultrasound machine to find a vein in my foot. And
God.
then the thing to my foot to get blood out of me.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I had the opposite experience than you. Like, they've gone out of their way to get blood from me.
That's hilarious. That's fucking crazy. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe in Jersey they're like, we got other things to fucking worry about. I don't know.
Yes, Jersey.
Like, you'll buck up. Everybody here is kind of like, we'll just ride it out. Even if we're dying, we're going to ride it out strong. It's fine.
So you went to the doctor. Did you go to the doctor? What happened? What caused your anxiety?
Okay, I did not, first of all. What caused my anxiety? What caused my anxiety, I couldn't tell you. And it's another one of those irrational things. It's not needles. I have 7 tattoos. I can get needles all day, every day. They can give me 1,000 shots and I will be fine. It is the process of giving blood. I just get queasy and skeeved out and weak in the knees. It's kind of like when men watch women give birth. Whatever feeling you guys get is what I get from the fact that I have to give blood.
I've seen inevitable. In real life. It's not nice. And that was my first time seeing a vagina in real life. So it definitely wasn't. It wasn't my greatest day.
It just makes me uber uncomfortable. And it's not even a fear. It's more of just being extremely uncomfortable. Extremely. Yeah. So, and it's not like, so I guess basically what it is, it's a combination of the fact that the preparation takes so fucking long. They roll in the fucking cart. They got all the shit on there. Then they do the tubes and shit. And I'm sitting here freaking the fuck out. And then they're like, they put the little needle in the thing and the tube in the bottom. Mind you, I haven't done it. So this is all from visualizing, from like watching fucking videos. And then they pop your fucking hand or wherever the fuck they're going to prick and say, oh, we're looking for a vein, squeeze your arm. It just all takes too fucking long. And then they fucking stick you with the needle. And then they friggin' suck the blood out of you and you see the shit coming out. And then it's done. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's just the whole time I'm losing my shit. The whole time I'm losing my shit.
There's a legitimate reason to be afraid of drawing blood because that one time we were donating blood at the blood
Mm.
bus, and the lady, my husband, he knows a little bit about blood work, but he's not an expert.
Mm.
And she put that little tube in wrong, and he told her, he goes, I think you're putting that in wrong. And
Oh
she's like, no,
God.
I'm not. He's like, please be sure because if you put it in wrong, you will put air into my veins.
Exactly, and you could
It will
die.
go straight to my heart, and I will die instantly.
Yep.
Or what can happen is the little thing from the pressure, the little valve will pop out. So like she waited, she pushed it in, and blood didn't come, and she was like moving the needle around. Thankfully, the valve, like the little tube, popped out instead of it going into his bloodstream. He literally like took the needle out of his arm. He goes, "We're leaving."
Oh my God. See, this is the shit. Thank you, Carlos. You did not help. This is the shit. It's just, like, it's
But
just
you know
so
what?
hard.
You know what? It's you definitely get. So I'm gonna guess you've never given blood at like a blood bus.
Never. Oh, what? Absolutely not. I've only given blood to save my fucking life. So, of course.
What? Oh my gosh! You need to donate. So we not to get off topic, but we used to donate blood. Well, we used to try to donate blood because there's a ban on gay people for donating blood, so you have to lie and say you're not gay.
Yep.
Donate blood. So we had to do that whole shebang. And then they used to give you free movie tickets, and they'd be parked right outside the movie theater. So you just give a pint of blood, and they'll give you a movie ticket and some snacks.
Shit.
So like that was how we did it in college. We used to we're always just getting free movie tickets and donating blood.
God.
It's a perfect scheme to steal people's blood. It really was.
It really is. That is so clever. Whoever thought of that needs to get a fucking round of applause because that is dope. Because if I did not have this fucking issue, I would do the same thing.
Okay, so what happened? So are you going to go
Okay,
get
wait. So I only explained the first part of my fear first. Let me get back to that. So the shit's done, right? So after that, they take the tube that got your blood in it. They start shaking the shit. I don't want to see that. And then, like it's so traumatizing. And then you gotta wait to see if you're fucking dying or not. Like it's it's the fucking worst. It's the fucking worst. It really is.
We get STD checks every 3 to 6 months, and I just did my 6-month check. Tell me why the waiting, like the doctor's like, okay, well we'll give you a call when your results come back. And I was like, okay, great, thank you. And I get a call from a doctor. He's like, okay, we got great news. Your white blood cells came back. You have no gonorrhea or chlamydia. I was like, okay, what about the other ones? He's like, oh, we're still waiting for those back. I was like, why would you call me?
Right?
With
half the fucking results. Like, what the hell? This is what I'm talking about.
It's the holiday weekend, so I gotta wait till the New Year for the other results. So
you gotta wait till fucking Tuesday.
I need to know.
I need to know so I can just go and have fun. That's fucking crazy. No, but like the place I'm going to. Okay, so here's the story. So I'm supposed to go today, but I'm being referred to a doctor from my mother-in-law that says like he's really understanding about stuff and he can sit and talk to you about all the things that ail you, and I need that because I have a lot of shit that I need to talk about. So I'm waiting for him. He's not in until tomorrow. So that's how I managed to conveniently avoid going today. Now, the other issue is that the place I'm going to gives you your results that same day. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because now I got to worry during my entire fucking doctor's appointment whether or not the fucking nurses are saying, oh, did you hear about the girl who's dying in room 2? Like, I'm scared. Like, this shit is frightening. I don't care if you're laughing at me. It's so fucking frightening. I don't care.
It's gonna look so minuscule after you get it done, and you got a doctor that does it same day. That's a fast ass lab.
Exactly, and I'm like, can I trust these guys, or are they just fucking?
I know. Are you getting good work, or are you just rushing through?
Exactly.
I don't need you to miss something.
Like that's the shit I'm talking about. It's just, it literally is probably my second most stressful part of my anxiety, I guess, because I literally, like, after tomorrow I'll be fine. After I do it once I'll be golden, but it's just the fact that 1, I had to put it off a day, and 2, I don't know what to expect, and I've been watching a whole bunch of fucking YouTube videos, a whole heap of shit. Some people freaking out, some people like, oh, it's nothing, and I'm like, where do I fall in this? Like, which one is it gonna be? I don't know what to me is gonna come out tomorrow, so it's definitely an anxiety. I got that definitely falls in line to my topic. Pretty sure I'm dying though. I'm pretty sure.
I can't wait to hear what happens. She says, I'm pretty sure I'm dying.
I really am. I'm pretty there. It can go either way. I could either be perfectly fine with all my numbers and all my shit in order, or I'm fucking dying because I'm pretty sure I'm dying. But we'll work it out. Whatever happens. It's
right.
what am I gonna do if I'm dying? What the hell am I gonna do?
You're dying. God's coming to take his purpose. He's taking his angel back.
Exactly. See, there you go. I got another purpose. It's fine. I'm already planning this.
You got another purpose? Oh my gosh.
Another purpose.
Oh God, you killing
But
me.
if you had someone, like, say your best friend came up to you and said, Carlos, I really think that I need to talk to somebody. I think that I've been struggling with just not anxiety, but like, say if they just told you that they've been depressed for years upon years upon years. Maybe something you know of triggered it, or maybe it's just an imbalance and it just started. How would you approach them, and what would be your advice to them, or how would you help in that regard?
See, I'm different from you. I don't appease the person. I don't.
Which, yeah, like I said, I don't recommend that for everybody, but it does help me.
I'm real. I'm too real. Like, so so perfect example. My best friend, she just got married last year, and I've been married for a while, and she was just like, I'm so depressed. I don't know if he's cheating on me. I don't know if this. I just don't know. And she just kept coming with me with all the problems. And I look at it like, to me, when you come to me with anything, like if it's with your life, I will immediately give it off to someone who knows you better, or give it off to a doctor. But if it's like, oh, I've been cheated on, or I'm depressed because my boyfriend's cheating, I look at it analytically, and I say, why are you feeling? You need to figure out, for one, why are you feeling this way? Oh, because you got cheated on. Okay, do you know for sure you got cheated on? Because a lot of things in life, or do you know if your bills aren't going to get paid? Just like in my instance, like, why are you taking yourself out if you know your bills? Now, if your bills aren't going to be paid, you have now.
You got a whole nother fucking issue.
Right? And now you have a rational fear of why you feel this way.
So you're not fucking depressed. You're fucking broke, and you know it. So get your shit together.
Exactly. So you have to be analytical. You're not depressed. You're just broke.
Which is great. That's a great way to approach it, because I know people who throw around I'm depressed and I have anxiety like it's fucking cheesecake. And I hate that.
It's like my mom always said when I was like, oh, I'm hungry. No, you're not hungry. You're just bored and you want something.
Yeah,
to do.
Exactly. You just feeling something that's uncomfortable. You don't know the word for it, and you just want to say that you're not happy. Like, exactly. Find a better word. So
I always ask people, like, well, you may not want to find a better word, but just ask yourself why. If you get to the root of why am I depressed? Why am I anxious? Just get to the root of it. And then ask yourself if this is rational. It goes back to what we were saying. Is this rational? And then if you ask yourself that, like, well, no, this isn't rational. I have money. And if you say, yeah, this is rational, I'm broke, then you found your answer. You're broke. So what can I do to make myself not broke? Get a second job. Get a third job. Hustle. Like, sell the pussy. I don't know. Like,
exactly, right? Get out on the track.
Like, get out there and work in these streets. Right. But you have to figure out, I'm very analytical. So when someone comes to me with problems, I'm going to be the friend to be like,
wait, Carlos, what's your sign?
I'm a Cancer.
Oh, okay, because my husband's a Sagittarius and he handles shit exactly the same way. Like, he's like, wait, no. He's like, you're fine. Wait, are you okay? Okay, if you're not okay, why are you not okay? Tell me what's wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, well, now you know what's wrong, so now you got to fix it. And I'm like, what?
Because that's
great, though.
That's just how my mind works, because just growing up, I didn't have time to dwell on things. It was like, okay, figure it out. That's why you feel this
Exactly.
way. All right. Okay. How can you make yourself not feel this way? You can do this. Okay, let's do that. You know. And that's always my advice. I'm like, okay, you want a divorce? Okay, either get a divorce or figure out why you're going to save your marriage. Those are your two options, and go after it.
That's
Because
funny because you have to. Like, you have to.
yeah, you have to. You simply have to.
You
And
gotta take control of your situation. I'm like that when it comes to. I have to say, I am kind of like that, and that's why people call me a bitch all the time because I am kind of very direct when it's not someone I know that's depressed. I think I have a soft spot for people who are legitimately depressed. I know they've been through shit, or I know they have anxiety because I know what it feels like, and I have a soft spot. But when it's like, bitch got cheated on, or like stuff like that, I'm like, listen. Are you a bad bitch? You know you're a bad bitch. Get the fuck up, throw them the fuck out, and move on. I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's just the way I am. I'm kind of direct like that too, but it's just, I don't know. For me, I just find it so hard. I have to just kind of
I
be
used
the
to be like you,
teddy
Courtney.
bear.
I used to be like you, but the reason I do it the way I do it now is because I don't directly tell them what to do. They literally figure out themselves.
Mhm.
Like, because you always have that friend who keeps calling you, oh, he keeps doing this. If you
Yup.
tell them to leave,
Yup.
they ain't gonna leave, and then you become the bad friend for telling them to leave.
Exactly.
Like,
That's true. That's true. That's true. I'm learning that too. I should be at that point in my life now because I've gotten burnt like that several times. But I just don't learn. I don't listen and I don't learn. So I'm just always gonna be that babying friend, that coddling friend, and then I just gonna get freaking slapped for it later. That's just how it goes.
yeah, that's true. That is
But
so. That's so funny.
it's crazy, like what you said though. Like when it is something like that, you can rationalize and you can kind of be like, can I take control of the situation and can I fix it? That is a good way to go. That's a good way to kind of I guess kind of get people out of it or get people thinking to a point where they can start taking it out on their like on themselves. Like they can be like, you know what, this is stupid. Why am I dwelling on this? Why am I what? This is ridiculous. This isn't
But
me.
it
Like,
works. It works, Courtney.
yeah.
Like I can tell you, it's something that I even have to work on myself because like I will get so worked up over something, and then my husband will be like,
Mhm.
Carlos, you were homeless when you were 16, and now you drive a Benz. You can get over this. Like you have to just
Exactly.
remind
Exactly.
yourself, where have I like? Is this really that hard? Like, what have you come through? And like,
Mhm.
pat yourself on the back too. But that's a lot of, and that's also something that like goes hand in hand with depression and anxiety.
Mhm.
We people who suffer from depression and anxiety rarely do like self treatment days
Self
and do
love.
self care and self love. Yeah,
Exactly.
self care. Like we rarely do, and that's what's very important to remind yourself. Like you did it this week. Like yeah, you had
Mhm.
ups and downs. Yeah, you were anxious about the doctor, but you know what? Your appointment's made, and you're going to see him this week, and you got it done.
Exactly. Very
Treat yourself.
true.
Treat yourself. Don't always be hard on yourself. You know.
That is very true. And I think I'm like that, especially on social media because I have um, a very tight knit social media group, even though I have like thousands and thousands of people that are on my page and people are like, those are not your friends. Okay, they're not my friends, but I have a very close knit of people that I handpicked that I know are like me. A lot of people I must say I have probably 500 or 600 people who are on my social media, on my Facebook that are suffering from anxiety or depression. And so I try my best to be kind of an advocate in a way because I'm very open like I am right now. I'm very open. I tell people this is my struggle, this is what I go through. I tell people when I'm having a hard day. I don't do any of those cryptic messages where I'm like, oh well, this sucks, and then have people asking me a bunch of questions. No, I tell you
I
this
hate
happened to
those.
me.
I hate those.
I don't do that. I do too. And I want people to know that they can be honest. If there is a platform and avenue for you to get your emotions out, get it out. It is what it is. There's going to be people that are going to judge, but then there's going to be people that can identify with you. And so I try to be that person. I try to say, you know what, guys? I remember I made this one post one day. I said, it was kind of cryptic, but it wasn't because people know what I go through. I said, I didn't let it take me over. I said, I conquered it. And everybody knew what I was talking about. It was basically I had a panic attack and I got over it, and now I'm fine. Which it's very hard for me. Usually it takes me 2 or 3 days to get back on my feet of like, I embarrassed myself yesterday from being upset about this. So I'll stay away from like online, but I literally had a panic attack that morning, and I told people that afternoon I got over it. So I like to be an advocate and like to be open so that people can feel that they're not alone. And I think that's also another thing. If you're feeling down, or if you're feeling like you don't have anyone around that identifies with you, find those platforms. There's on Facebook, I really suggest and encourage people who are going through things to go to Facebook groups. Facebook groups are really the most therapeutic things that exist right now in my life. There's groups for depression, groups for anxiety, groups for Lyft and Uber drivers, like groups for everything. So if you have something that you're struggling with, there are people there. There's admin that make sure there's no one abusing the group or telling people things that they don't want to hear. There's always that therapeutic avenue. So I would tell people definitely use social media for that if you feel like you don't have anyone on your side.
And on the other hand, if you don't, like, if social media is literally like this week, social media was my
It's
problem.
not your friend.
With my depression. I want everyone to know, maybe Courtney, you can put this in the like the section, the description section, but the National Suicide Prevention and Crisis Hotline is
Exactly.
1-800-273-8255, and that's for anywhere in the country. And you can literally, you don't even have to be thinking about, I've caught them before when I was a teenager, and they will sit on the phone with you for hours
And just talk with you.
just talk to you, and
Let
they
you
don't
air
know.
it out.
Yes, they're not judging you. They don't know you. It's not like you said, you might have a group of friends on Facebook, but maybe you just don't want anyone to know who's in your Facebook
Exactly.
group
Yep.
that you're going through this. So if you feel like you're not, if you feel like you're alone, you're not. There's literally hundreds of people, and it's open 24 hours every day. It's a free phone number, so we'll definitely put it in the descriptions. But I want everyone to know that even if you can't reach, you can send me a DM, and if you can't reach me, give them a call, and they will listen to you for hours about anything. So
Oh,
you're
definitely,
never
definitely.
alone in this at all.
Definitely. I'm definitely going to post that in the description box when it comes to, especially when we upload this to YouTube. I'll put it on the Facebook, just to kind of reiterate that, because that is so important, because there are a lot of people who are not as open, who definitely need a more intimate approach. And, therapy is fucking expensive. I mean, I can't afford therapy. I don't care if I make $1 million, I can't afford therapy because it's just, I feel like there's always other avenues to go before you have to go to reaching in your pocket. You shouldn't have to pull something away from yourself to get help. I always say that. So,
Exactly. But on
yeah,
other, check your if any of our listeners, if you guys work full time and if your job gives you benefits like health, my husband just discovered that he gets three therapy appointments a year or a month. He gets 3
what?
appointments a month for free through his job. So
Oh, my insurance
it's
don't do that
there.
shit.
So, and we actually, yeah, we signed up. I found that out, and I found us like a little therapist for our marriage, and we're not having any problems.
Oh,
But it's
it's
just
always
good to,
good.
yeah, it's the new year. It's good just to like have someone there who doesn't who doesn't really have any interest besides just
Exactly.
getting money from you, really.
Right?
but
I got you.
sure, and you're not even wasting any money. You're actually you're spending your money wisely because a lot of people, there's so many benefits in their healthcare that they don't use, you know.
Very
So
true. Very
we
true.
should look at it and definitely use it because we didn't know that we were paying for it with because you do pay for your healthcare. It's not like your job is giving you healthcare for free.
Exactly.
You get out of your
Exactly.
paycheck. Like you get a discount, but you definitely paying for that, you know.
Oh, that's
So
awesome. I have
definitely
to
check
look
it
into
out.
that.
Definitely check it out. Yeah, for sure. We just found out, and it's really, really cool. My husband, he actually just went to his first therapy appointment by himself, but he said the lady was 83, and she asked him his name 4 times. So he said it's kind of work out with her because he thinks she has Alzheimer's. But
Oh,
but then you know
poor
what the funny
thing.
was? We went on Yelp to see if she had any reviews, and everyone was like, "She's a sweet lady, but I think she has Alzheimer's."
Oh, poor baby. She's still trying though.
She's still practicing.
It's
I was
hard
like,
out in these streets. She trying. She like, man, I got these bills.
just still alone, still knocking on her door.
Yep. But before we close out, I do want to kind of shout out a nice app that I found. I think probably a year ago, and I checked on it a couple days ago to see if it's still growing, if people are still using it. But it's a really great app. It's called Seven Cups. And what it is, it's basically if you're going through things, if you need someone to talk to, there's people who are basically volunteering their time, everyday people that are just one on one. It's not on a name basis. You all have a username, and you can kind of contact them and talk to them about whatever is bothering you. It's kind of like a hotline, but it's not as direct. So it may not feel as formal, which a lot of people may need. So what it is you can sign up for Seven Cups. You download it. It's available on Android and iPhone. And you put in your age. You put in the type of person you want to speak to, a male or a woman, and whether you're over 18 or under 18. They have separate chats for that. It's very highly monitored. There's a lot of moderators. I think like there's bots that check for any inappropriate activity. But what they do is you just pretty much say, hey, I have this issue. Someone will ping you and you start a conversation. It might sound a little awkward, but I've tried it a couple of times and it's really cool because it's kind of like you have a friend that you haven't texted in a long time and they're there to check up on you, and that's kind of how they start the conversation. And then you just kind of air out whatever you need, and either you have a choice to have it kind of redirect you to that person every time you have an issue, or it can just be anonymous where you never talk to them again. But it's a really good app. Again, it's called Seven Cups, and I really do encourage everybody who's going through stuff to kind of download it and give it a try. If it's not for you, what are you losing? It's free. So again, it's Seven Cups, so you guys should definitely check that out. I'm definitely going to put up the suicide prevention number on our page, as well as check into your insurance to see if they give you some free therapy, like Carlos said. I gotta check into that.
It's out here. Yes, I went over. I looked over our whole package. I was like, and we get free glasses. We get 2 pair of free glasses a year. I was like, I don't even need glasses. But you know what I found out is I can get my glasses and I can get my son Ray-Bans prescription.
Oh hey.
Like get a light prescriptive on them, so they're like sunglass prescriptive glasses, and they're free under your health care, right?
Oh shit!
Well,
that is awesome.
Hustles everywhere.
Wait, is that like a loophole or some kind of like dark web shit that we just exposed ourselves just now?
No, because I called Lens Crafters and I was like, so I don't technically have vision problems, but my insurance covers sunglasses and vision.
I like Ray-Bans.
And I like Ray-Bans. And like, yeah, we'll just put a very, very, very light prescription on it for you.
But that be fucking up your eyes, though. You gonna be cross-eyed in like 15 years. You know that, right?
That would look good, though.
I'm done. Well, thank you guys for listening to Real Shit Fridays. I almost said Real Shit Tuesdays. I already fucked it up already, but it's okay. It's okay. Y'all know I'm going through things. It's good. But anyway, be sure to check us out next week, same day, same time, same place. And as always, what are we doing, Carlos?
Oh man, I'm halfway through the bottle. We keeping it real with Savage Media Radio.
We're staying savage. We all got problems. Bye, y'all.
Stay savage, guys.
Bye.